Alright, well, welcome to part 4. I don't know how well this is going to light up, but we'll borrow Jared's flashlight here. It makes more light here on the screen so you can see it. Okay, right now we are in the engine mode. So if we reach down here and hit escape, now we're in the general outline and of the computer. So the top one, up here, F1 is for the engine, F2 is for the cat reading, F3 is your tiller, F4 is your TV, your backup camera, F5 is more diagnostics that's going on here, okay? Now here we've got the engine coolant temperature, we've got oil pressure, it's in bar, you have to convert that by multiplying it by 14 point something, I don't know, whatever. This right here is our tiller speed, and this here's our engine RPMs, so we're right at about 15 to 1600 RPMs on our engine. The red arrow here means that we are going up. Well, we're actually going forward, not up. Anyway, this here is information on, I think it's the information running the switches in back, or it's probably identifies what tiller is on this machine right now. So, all right, let's go to the first one here. Well, actually, let's go to the second one because this is what everyone's always going to use. You're going to press F2, which is your cat, and it's going to give you your total hours you got on the machine, and then you've got the hours that you're actually been operating the machine. If you reset it when you got in the cat, or maybe the people that ran it the last before you reset it automatically, which is what we try to get our people to do. F3 and F4 will both reset the current hour meter. Okay, and then we have up here in the top of the screen, right up here, it says P1, and it's got a little, well, a 3/4 circle on it. It says +0. This is our steering sensitivity. So right now we are on 0. No help, no retard. So if we start turning this knob, you can actually make it steer quicker, more sensitive, or less sensitive. The less sensitive, it seems more like it just creates a bigger dead zone in the middle. And you would think for people learning how to run a cat, that would be easier. But what it actually does is it makes it so that by the time you get to where you want to turn, it zips the cat around right on its nose, and you're like, whoa, what happened? I'm like, that's what happened. So +10 and -10 will actually degrade or increase the performance on your steering. We generally run it at 0. We think what they have going is perfect. But if you're grooming slopes and you need the cat to spin around really fast without turning very hard, that's what you do. Okay, we'll hit escape without erasing anything. Now we'll go up to the engine here. The engine tells us how much fuel we're using right. Well, since the last time we did reset, it's telling us that we're burning about 6.4 gallons per hour, or 24.6 for you liter per hour people. And we hit this every once in a while, and it tells us exactly how many gallons per hour we're burning right now at this particular second. So at the upper end of the economy zone, he's burning 13.6.5 gallons per hour. Well, that will settle down in a little bit, but it's going to be about 12, 11, 13, somewhere in there over that period of time. The other thing we got here is we've got oil temperature, and we've got water temperature. The last thing is the engine oil pressure. I think if you hit one of these functions again, I don't want to disable the cat. once in a while it'll do that. Well, all you can do on this screen apparently is reset again. So now we're at 12.5, 12.4 gallons per hour. Very interesting. Yeah, I know. Okay, we'll escape out of here. We can go into our tiller function here, and basically the only things that we can do with our tiller function is do tiller boost mode. What that does is it adds about another 300 RPMs to our tiller, and we don't ever use that. So, you know, this function, we don't need it. So, escape out of there. Next one is our backup camera, and it shows there's a pile of snow in front of our heated camera. It looks like Mount McLaughlin or something that's right following us up the trail. Well, that's not too good. Escape. The next one is F5. This puts us into additional functions. The first time it gets rid of the other menu. The second time actually puts you in these different diagnostic modes right here. So, and I'm not going to hit any of these while we're driving down the trail, because every once in a while when you hit one of these buttons, well, the cat stops. And sometimes you have to turn the machine off and then return the machine on before the cat will even move. It does something in the program. Ooh. Now, if your tiller's grabbing a lot, you can actually switch to up pressure on your tiller. So, but you look back and see how good a trail it is, and you don't want to do any of that.
Don't touch anything?
Nah, don't touch anything. All right. So the wrench here, those are adjustments. You can actually, if the cat's not going true down the trail, if you're not steering, your cat should go straight. It should be stroking both pumps evenly, or both pumps enough to where they're flowing the same amount of rate out of them. If they're not, you can actually go in and you can adjust the trim, they call that. You can actually adjust that so that it'll stroke one pump more or less. But a lot of times if it's doing something weird like that, you might have an issue with a pump wearing out or a motor wearing out. The F2 is probably the switches or some other things on there. I don't spend a lot of time on these menus because, well, I'm busy running the cat and I don't really need to unless there's some reason for it. Hit it one more time and it goes back to these basic functions again. There's one where you can get into much more detailed engine mode. But at this particular point, I don't really remember. There is one section here that if something happens to the main wire that goes to the steering column, or the wire that goes to the accelerator, you can actually drive this cat with these three knobs right here. One of them does steering, one of them does the track pressure, or the track speed, and I don't remember what the other one does. It might even be tiller or something like that, but one of them's going to steer it, the other one's going to control the speed. So if something happens to your steering column, you can still get the cat back using this right here, but you have to be in one of these other features. So that just about covers your screens, and maybe sometime we'll do a more diagnostics on your can, which basically is the communication for the whole cat, and some of the other features. Maybe we can find the advanced screen for the engine that gives us the turbo boost, what it's trying to do in different modes. So, all right, well, this probably concludes our training stuff for right now. So, you know, hope you can deal with all the shakiness. So, good luck.